What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerdcastle for the next episode of Reign of Kings. My name is Splattercat, and I'm happy to have you here today as we hang out for a little bit and I suppose try and get our base back in order. From where we're sitting right now, there's a couple tasks that I wanted to get done. And so I think the first is going to be such that I've got a couple more blocks cooking down and in here, but we need to decide what we want to do with this. So I farmed for a little while in between episodes, not really that much, just because, like, I don't know, recording this series is always a little bit difficult. And I'll let you kind of into, like, my mind's eye as far as the orchestration of this series goes, but it's always a little bit difficult simply based upon the fact... There we go. I'll put it right there. That should be enough space for us to get our back wall in and everything. But anyways, it's always difficult because this game has so much grind work and it has so much just, like, random farming that unfortunately, like, you have a recording schedule when you're a YouTuber, and so I work 9 to 5 just like anybody else does, where I just like hang out for 8 hours and I just sit and record for a long ass amount of time. And so that happens every single day, and that's what I do for a living. And so unfortunately, when you're trying to get things done and like plan your day, like for example, it's my grandma's birthday tonight, and so I'm trying to take her out to dinner, you've always got like little plans and things that you're trying to work around. And so frankly, what I try and do is when I'm recording Reign of Kings, I try to just tell myself I'm not getting anything done today. I'm just going to spend all day like farming materials in between episodes and just sort of like hanging out. The other problem is that when I front load a lot, people are like, oh look, he's got 10,000 stone, he hacked it. And I'm like, well, no, I walked around in circles for hours and hours and hours. I seriously did. It took forever. It was miserable. I had no fun. And I think that's how you know that you've rightfully earned materials. Did you have any fun getting all of this? If the answer is no, then you farmed materials correctly. So we're going to need like... I don't know, like maybe, I think I'm going to go for the stairs instead. I like the stairs a little bit better. We're going to need like 35 of these? I don't know, maybe? We'll see how this goes. I don't have an exact barometer or number of things that I'm going to need in order to make this work. However, I do have an idea of what I want to accomplish right now, and so that's what we're going to do. People have been declaring their factions. I've actually filled up almost an entire note page right now, and it seems like green has taken a massive lead. I think that might be because I'm part of green. That might happen. Either way, I'm sure that there will be some kind of insurgency or red faction that will form eventually in order to fight with us. I mean, I picked green, and it was something that I had thought about in the planning phase where if I pick green, I bet a bunch of people will pick green. Green is also a very popular color. Just removing myself from the equation right here, let's just take ego out of the situation for a second. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would pick green anyways just because they like the color green, and green is a really badass color. I mean, that's why I picked it, so there it is. How many other people had the exact same rationale as I? It's very, very difficult to tell, and so therefore, either way, we've got a couple people declared purple, we got a couple people declared blue, so I'm hoping that it'll even out with time. It's difficult to tell, though, so it's the first day. It's the first day. Additionally, green has pretty good real estate. I like green's section, like where they live. I like where they lay at, and so, you know, that in and of itself right there could be an attraction, too. It's far enough away from the resource valley to where it's kind of a pain in the ass to get over here. So now that we got this right here, my goal is going to be to become, I want to have this like expanded up a couple more layers, and yes, I will replace this with stone eventually, so if you come back from in between episodes and chunks of this are stone, I'm just going to slowly retrofit it and make it all a little bit more livable. I'm hoping they drop like optimization patches or something in the future, because as the server fills up with people, we are going to lose performance, and it's just going to get a little bit nastier. There's not going to be a whole lot of things that I can do about it. It's just the way the cookie crumbles with this game, unfortunately. It is what it is. However, let's focus for right now on putting in as many chunks of the base as we possibly can. There we go. That's looking... No, that's not the spot that I wanted. We'll drop those in right there. And I just want a bunch of layers of this to go on up so that this can be tall as hell. That's essentially all that I'm aiming for at the moment, is I just want to make this building super duper ridiculous tall. And then what I'm going to do is I actually want it to... I've got to figure out... Well, I mean, I've got to figure out some way to keep this safe, and I'm having trouble figuring out how I'm going to do it. I may come up with some kind of like faux wall or maybe some sort of facade to throw people off. Obviously, it'll be up here on camera, but at the bare minimum, it'll be a functional facade. And what I mean by that is that it'll be a facade, but at the same time, it'll be a facade that has to be dealt with before you can get up into my base and mess with my stuff. So there it is. Yeah, a lot of people are logging into the server now. I can see the lag happening because I've got a frame rate meter running right now, and you can tell, I can tell you approximately how many people are playing by what my frame rate is. That's a bad thing, and the developers need to get on top of that. Essentially, if my frame rate is around like 43, I know that the server is basically full. And then once people start like building and doing other things, I don't know if it's, I might have to contact gameservers.com and see if maybe they want to increase the allocation of RAM or something for the server, just because it is going to be a very, very popular one. Performance has been a little bit iffy, and so I don't know if that's a thing that I can request from them, but I should probably hit them up and find out, just see if maybe I can increase the parameters of the server. The game is poorly optimized, but on the server side, we might be able to beefcake it out and just turn it into sort of like the server equipment equivalent of Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, yeah, I'm hosting all your games, and then it'll be all taken care of. I don't know. It's an odd situation to be in a lot of the time, so I don't think I've actually made most of these blocks. So for right now, I figure that I'll make like decoy layers or something. I don't know. It's difficult to decide how you want to make a building like this, because if somebody wants to get in, they're gonna get in this game. That's how it always works. It's just like somebody determined, never doubt human ingenuity. If they're not using bugs to break into your base, then they'll be using legitimate tactics that you just didn't think about. The legitimate tic-tacs. Gotta watch out for those breath fresheners. Anyway, we'll go like right to here. And that seems pretty good. And we can put in our first layer right here, I suppose. And this will be like the first area where... yeah, that'll work right there. We'll put in our first layer. I like the wood flooring anyways. I grew up with a wood floor. Well, actually, no. We had like 1970s shag carpet at one of our houses. And then we moved away. And then we had a house that had like these Berber carpets, which were really sort of uncomfortable and unpleasant. And then after that, I feel like there's a section missing right here, but it looks like I did everything correctly. Our base might be slightly oblong and weird. My hope is that eventually people will band together and all join sort of the same clan so that we can expand our lands when we're in demand. That way, our world will be grand, or at least the world of Chivalry will be grand. I can't really worry about Flophaven or any of those other, you know, dirty countries full of heresy. I have to focus on Chivalry. It is the last light of hope for this medieval world. And unfortunately, if it falls, it's going to be bad. I mean, have you seen Flophaven? I don't even think they've invented fire yet. And so, do we really want to regress back to that time period? It might be bad. It might not work out for us. And so, I'm just putting my thoughts on paper right now as to the superiority of Chivalry. Some people might say that, hey, you know, Splattercat is racist versus Flophavians. But you know what? I've never had a good interaction with them. I've never had one good interaction with a Flophavian. So you know what? Just based on my personal experience, I'm led to believe they might be terrible people. So take that, Flophavians. Take that. Let's jump off right here. Okay. That sounds like something you would tell somebody to do when they cut you off and track them. Oh, you what, mate? Jump off, mate. It sounds like the sort of thing that somebody would just fly off with. You what? Alright, so we got this over here. How much? We got a little bit. I've heard that your meat actually burns now if you leave it in for too long. That should be nice, though. We got to track down options for getting ourselves further hydration. And I think the berry bushes that are near our house should pretty much work out to that extent. We got a berry bush up the hill, and we got a little berry bush right here. And so I think we should be able to keep ourselves satisfied. It rarely takes more than 10 berries. I have locked the server into 24-hour day. So for people that matters to, it's been taken care of. I got you covered, amigo and or amiga. We'll go right there. Okay, that should keep us covered for a while. Hydration's looking good. Our stomach is looking very, very full. Although if you take your time and you just eat like a shit ton of berries, I feel like it would make you really, really sick. Like having eaten a lot of fruit when I was out in the field, what I would do is when I would go out in the field, I would try and eat healthy, because when you go out in the field and you're hiking like 15 miles a day, you know, like 10, 15, up and down mountains and stuff like that, when you're doing work, you burn a lot of calories, and it was a great weight loss thing for me. Like I lost like 11 pounds on one trip one time over 2 weeks, just like hiking with a 70-pound backpack on the entire time, nonstop. And so I would like bulk in between trips and just like eat whatever I wanted, and I would just like balloon out and balloon back in. You see what I'm saying right now. Still, did I put in an extra layer right there? Why did I do that? Huh, what a noobish thing to do. Although I might be able to make some use of that mistake in just a moment. Let me remove the anvil. Oh yeah, we had stairs, didn't we? We had stairs. I mean, I always get stairs, but that's because I wear a helmet when I go to the supermarket, and people are very, very unkind. I think that we've got... Oh, look, somebody is making emoticon boobs. It's only been like 8 minutes since somebody did that on the internet. Okay, well, I figure... I'm gonna have to do this from the other side, aren't I? Yep. Gonna have to do it from the other side. So there it is. We'll go like so. I hear the sound of somebody chopping them trees. Essentially, I just want to get my base set up before we start doing anything else dangerous. Did I close my door? I hope I closed my door. If I did, this should be grand und fine. But up until then, it's not grand or fine. There we go. That'll work out. And so as we bring this up a layer, I think if I attach these to walls, it's going to make it look a little bit weird. So I'm going to do calls every now and again. If people wanted to know how that's going to work for faction declarations, I'm just going to call it out every now and again and just be like, hey, faction declarations, go! And people are going to be able to do that when, you know, I'm online or whatever, and I'll just write it down as time goes along. I'll try and supply an Excel spreadsheet, make sure that everybody knows who's on, like, what team, so that this all looks nice and kosher. We already got somebody running around outside of our base naked. That's always pleasant. Everybody loves the fact that it's medieval times and half the people are nude here. I need to make some more blocks, and so I'm just going to do that right there. That'll give us another 100 or so to play with. We've got some stone blocks right there. I should probably go all in, and while we wait, we'll go up in here. Oh, good. I've got somebody just like screaming their head off on VoIP. That'll be good. That'll be fantastic. Let's go, and I'll drop in a couple more blocks right here. And once these blocks are in play, I'm actually going to make, I think, a 2x2 stairwell. And we'll see how far back this goes. I don't know how efficient it's going to be, but for right now, yeah, 33 blocks will do it. Let's have those right there. I'm hiding from line of sight because somebody's peering inside. Somebody's trying to look and see what I'm up to. And I can't have that. Let's go over in here. Everything we do must be clandestine. That is to say, part of a clan. And also destined for greatness. Clandestine. That's what that means. I bet you didn't know that was what that meant. Nope, Splattercat's making up falsehoods right now. That is not what that meant. Got that right there. He's probably out there looting my coal at the moment, but oh well, what are you going to do about it? Luckily, I don't care about coal that much, so it's not that big of a deal. Some guy named Cole in the audience right now is just heartbroken. He's like, no, he doesn't care about coal. My life, it's ruined. I'm going to write angry letters all day long and be like, why do you not like the proud coal people? And I'm like, well, I mean, I can tell that you guys burn with a passion that is quite enviable. So there are positive things to say about the coal people, but still. There it is. And so now we're moving on up. That should look pretty good right there. I think this will be the spot where maybe I put in like the first faux layer. And then we'll block it off with like as many like random things as we can. Oh, that puts a hole in the side of my wall. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Okay, well the stairwell's odd, but I can fix it later. It's not that big of a deal for right now. It's not like a thing that has to be taken care of this exact moment. The next episode will probably be me out in the PvP zone, so there's the plus side. I mean, we're pretty much nude right now, so I don't think we're really going to get much work done. And everybody's basically on the green faction right now. So that's how you unify a server right there. You just make Splattercat pick a faction, and then everybody else is like, oh my god, I want to be part of Splat's faction. And so now everybody's unified under a simple rule set that you can't kill green people. It's not a nice thing to do. Don't kill green people. They already have problems of their own. They're more than likely suffocating and or dead already. Let's go back and we'll drop all of these in. And so our first layer right here, every couple layers, what I'm going to try and do is I'll put in a floor and we'll just like segment this out and make a whole bunch of cells. And I'll do it off camera so that people don't know which cells hold the treasure and stuff like that, because obviously I can't be exposing all my secrets while I'm up on camera. But I figure people figure it out eventually. We're conquering this area right here. We've got 70 blocks raring to go right now. How they're raring, I don't really know. The rarity, I'm not really too sure of. Their name's not written in blue. Or is it? Oh my god, it is. They're rare blocks, at least if you're going by the World of Warcraft standard. Let's drop all this up in here. One of the biggest reasons I want to get a house built is because when you're inside, it fixes the frame rate from all the other people being around and causing all kinds of problems. It seems like a little bit of structure is all that it took, though, to get the server up and running. Like, it seemed like a little bit of structure is what it took, because now that there's, like, teams and stuff like that, I'm finding that there's a lot more... There's accords taking place, and the Discord and that cord, they are being drawn together now, and they're actually being woven into a very fine weave that everybody's having fun being a part of. And so I'm hoping that we fixed all the problems we had previously. Obviously, it's only the first day. The server's only been up for a couple hours. But honestly, the last time I put the server up, we had problems within a couple hours. So we'll see what happens here. A little bit more right there. And then I would say to take a little bit of time and craft a tad more of the base out of stone. I realized that for the people that are not into building, these first couple ramp-up episodes, literal ramp-up episodes, will be the ones where they're just like, meh, and they get bored very, very easily. However... from where we're sitting at the moment, we are going to have to do this because I simply just, like, I have to have my base done before I log off today to make sure that at least we have some protection inside of our own lands. If we're able to be raided and just, like, messed with inside of our own territory, that is not going to be acceptable. I will point out that everybody should remember that there is a no attack rule if the person is offline. That's one of the big rules that I think will distinguish the server from other servers, is that you hit somebody while they're offline, that's that. I mean, I'm going to give you a warning maybe the first time, and then after that it's going to be a bannable offense. And so it's just like one of those little things that I'm trying to keep people appraised of, so that if you're going to be up on the server, no raiding people's stuff when they're offline. Do it while they're online. If you attack while they're online, perfectly okay. PvP to your little heart's content. Whatever size or volume your heart is, doesn't really matter. Yeah, the stone nodes aren't invincible. I'm still working on a way to do that. Some guy posted the code of the game, but I'm pretty sure it was illegal to actually modify the base code of the game without the permission of the developers in order to, like, fix the node spawns and stuff like that. And then I'm not sure how that would work with the anti-ban, like the VAC bans and things that they have running with Steam right now either. And so I wasn't really super stoked about testing it out just yet. We'll go... Let me drop my anvil in right here. I'll put it just about anywhere. It doesn't matter where it goes right now. And then we'll go through, let me get this upgrading too, because we do have the materials we need to get that all the way up to a bellows. And once it's bellowing nice and loudly, I think we should make ourselves some armor so that when we go out to farm some materials, we don't have to worry about grumpy people destroying us and, like, shoving objects inside of our bodies forcibly through orifices that are not meant for entry. That would be all bad. And so we got a little bit of iron right there. Throw that off. Actually, I'm going to need that, so I'll hold on to that for right now. We're going to need the flax. I'll throw all of this in here as well. There it is. Nobody's tried to claim the throne either, which is kind of interesting, because some people are, like, really, really obsessed with the throne. Like, I've seen people that the moment they get online, they're like, the throne is mine, and they instantly just try and line it up as fast as possible so that they are king. Once we've claimed this area, I'll try and get that door centered better. I didn't really know where the stairwell was going to be before I built that, and so unfortunately it's a little bit off-center right now, but there it is. I think... Come on, 6 more seconds. I believe in you, and then we'll make some armor. We should be good to go. We can avoid using the helmet for right now, which is pretty cool. And so now that that's ready to go, let's make ourselves some iron armor. And so I'm going to make the chest piece because we could use the resistances right there. It's going to take a couple of iron ingots, a little bit of flax. If we can get the gauntlets going as well, I think I could be happy with the way that we're equipped. I don't tend to make steel. Steel is valuable enough to where when you lose it, you actually, like, care. And so I tend to stay away from using steel for any of my projects. I tend to just wear, like, a ton of iron armor because it's very, very easy to aggregate. It's easy to get a ton of iron armor and just not have to worry about it. And so once you've got a backpack full, I used to do the same thing when I played RuneScape when I was in high school. And this was back in, like, 2002, 2003 when RuneScape was still, like, a new thing that people were still excited and, like, positive about. So anyways, when RuneScape first came out, I used to just get, like, a whole bunch of black iron mail, like dozens and dozens and dozens of suits on it, and then I'd just go out to the wilds and fight with people, and I wouldn't even worry about it if I got killed, unless I had, like, a whole bunch of player loot on me when I got killed, and then I'd be a little bit bummed, because that's the point of going out and ganking players. But who takes a whole bunch of, like, loot out into the wildlands? Like, who does that? Like, I never understood who that guy was that had, like, 50,000 gold on him when he walked through the wildlands. It just always seemed odd. It seemed indefensible. It seemed like the sort of thing that you're just like, well, you knew this was going to happen, didn't you? Like, you had to know. There was no way you can tell me that you didn't know that this was going to occur. And so what we'll do right now is let's drop in a little bit more stone. I don't think it's going to leave us super safe. But there it is. That's pretty cool. That'll work out pretty fab-tabulously. And so we only got a couple more blocks that we can throw in anyways, but it is what it is. The goal here being anyways to cause people at least a little bit of pain and suffering if they try and jump over my wall. And actually what I could do to fix this for right now is that when I go down through here, what I would recommend is that you take blocks and you actually block off this upper layer like so, and then maybe put in a secondary layer as well, just to make it a giant, huge pain in the ass to get into this area. I mean, I've started breaking myself in once I get done with an area, and so what we've got right now is we've actually got a fairly substantial walk in front of us. And so since there's a walk, what I might do right here is I might make a little cut. Well, I'm trying to keep all the episodes oriented around the same activities. That's really what I'm trying to focus on for right now. I should also store up some of this loot. Let's throw that in there. We got that right there. That's all going to be good and useful for later. I need to pick up flax while we're running around to make sure that if things are going to be, well, I mean, things are going to get CG later on. And so there it is. Let's run through here. Did he loot my coal? Let's find out. It looks like it's still burning over here. Looks like he might have left it alone. It's hard to tell. All right, well, let's go out to the player fields right now. We'll kind of see what's happening. We'll see if people are going to attack us. I've got my face paint on because that is part of the rules. There it is right there, just to prove that Splattercat is going by the rules. I got my green face paint on for right now. I wish... What I'd like everybody else to do is you should also make your banner the color of the faction you're planning on joining. And so I don't really know how you reset your banner if you've already set it up, but it's something that I would recommend. When you make your character in the server, make your banner the same color as the faction that you're going to be part of. Not the emblem, but the actual area around that, so that, you know, while people are running around, they can be like, oh, he waved at me and he's got a blue flag. Therefore, he's the enemy. He's part of a different faction that I want to destroy now. This hill right here is the kind of thing that just gives me nightmares, because this right here, this is what geology feels like. Just walking up hills like this all day, every day, looking for handholds and just being like, ugh, why is all the interesting stuff at the top of a hill? Why? Well, tectonically and geologically, I can tell you why all the good stuff's at the top of a hill. It's because when you have compression zones, it causes pressure and heat, and you have this wrinkle effect. So if you think about two pieces, well, let's think about two pieces of very, very wet-soaked wood ramming into each other from opposite directions with opposite forces, going just two arrows pointing towards each other. What happens right there? On the ends, it's going to bend upwards, and it's going to create a point pointing up into the air. Exact same thing happens with stone, just on a larger scale. Or if you wanted to make it even easier, you just take a rug, and you know when a rug gets scrunched up? That's all that mountains are. Mountains are just places where the earth has gotten scrunched up by pressure. And so the good stuff happens when you get temperature and pressure combined, and then it goes up to the top of the hill, floats all the way up the side of a mountain, and then there you go. Fun, 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 fun. Geology. Technically, since I'm an admin, I could just like fly the hell over here to make life easier, but I'm not going to do that for right now. Instead, let's just spend a little bit of time chopping their wood. Well, maybe not. Do I want to chop wood right now? I don't know. I'll figure out another time to do it. I think the areas are going to become deforested pretty quickly. We had a problem with that the last time we set up the servers, that we had so many players that they would deforest entire chunks of the map like within an hour or two, and so I would have to reset the server like every 3 hours for there to be enough trees for people to grab onto. And unfortunately, through the controls that I have, I can only reset the server like once a day. It's just got a little flip down box. I may have to use the advanced server settings in order to get it done. I believe a neutral island out there. I'm a little bit curious as to what the shifty neutrals are going to be up to. Would you like to have a peace treaty for 5 days? That's actually not a bad plan. See, this is how you make peace. You put everybody under the constant threat of murder and you just let them work it out themselves. I bet you somebody breaks the embargo, though. Somebody's going to be out there just jibbing fools. Well, since we're out of time for right now, I'm going to walk back. I'm going to get to the Resource Valley. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Reign of Kings. I look forward to seeing you all in future episodes. Hi to everybody. In the next episode, we'll hopefully, I don't know if there's going to be any PvP. It might be a little bit peaceful here for the next couple days because it seems like everybody's making a peace accord, but I'll see y'all there. Hi to everybody.